If you could step into a time machine right now, who would you go visit first? Your past self, maybe 10 years younger, full of innocence or mistakes? Or your future self, wiser, older, and holding secrets you desperately want to know? What would you say? What would you ask? And more importantly, would you even listen to yourself? Welcome back to Random Talk with NG, and on today's episode of Random Talk with NG, I'm back here with one of my very intrusive reflective thoughts. What if you could time travel to talk to yourself? Abraham Lincoln once said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." Now let's think about it. We all love the idea of time travel, movies, books, sci-fi, it's everywhere. But underneath the fantasy is a question I believe we all wrestle with. If I knew then what I know now, maybe we would have done some things better. Maybe we would have avoided meeting some people. Maybe we would not have entered into business transactions or partnerships or relationships with some people. Like if only I had invested in Bitcoin early, or if only I had not texted back that one person. Time travel is not about physics. It's about reflection. Walk with me as we have this gentle, nostalgic feeling and reflection. Imagine sitting across from 15-year-old you. What would you say? It's okay to fail. It's a part of learning. Don't waste time trying to be liked by everyone. Stop worrying about pimples. One day you'd actually miss that young skin. Don't regret the past. It has brought you here. That's a quote by an unknown fellow. So what's one thing you would tell your younger self right now? I have a couple of things I wish I could tell my younger self. I have a lot of things, not even a couple of things. I have a lot of things I wish I could tell my younger self. But the major question, or the next question I have is, would your past self actually listen? Because here is the twist. Even if you spoke to your past self, your 15-year-old self, even if I spoke to my 15-year-old self and told myself all the things that I wish I could have known then, right? Would they listen, or would they roll their eyes and say, "You don't understand"? Because sometimes the lesson is only real when you live it. Wisdom can't always be downloaded like an app, And then now flip it. What would you ask your future self? Maybe questions like, does my hustle finally pay off? Hope I don't end up in life very broke. Do I end up happy, or do I end up miserable? Do I marry this person? Do I fly with this business idea? And Malcolm X once said, "The future belongs to those who prepare for it today." But here is the catch. Would knowing the future ruin the adventure of getting there? Every version of you, past, present, future, carries wisdom. Past you carries mistakes that taught survival. The present you, it carries the choices shaping the now. And the future you, it carries the results of your habits. Time traveling in your mind is about connecting those dots. I think about the person I was yesterday, the mistakes I have made. Think about the person I am today, intentionally choosing to live a life that I would say I am proud of. And I think about the person that I'll be tomorrow. Definitely realizing that the choices I have made now are the things that would shape the result, or the things that would form the result of my habits tomorrow. And then I ask you, are you living in regret or gratitude when you think about time traveling? Because most what ifs come from regret. But what if you reframed them into gratitude? Instead of what if I had not failed? Consider saying, what if that failure is exactly why I grew stronger? You may be battling it within you and saying, "Oh, it's not that easy." To be very honest, if we all dropped our what ifs on the table, the same way they say if you drop all your problems, if everyone drops their problems and asks you to pick which you prefer, you definitely prefer your own problem, when you see every other person's problems. So with regards to failures, with regards to what ifs, if we all dropped our what if thoughts on the table, you realize that your what if, coming from a place of gratitude, is not as bad as you think it is. Okay? So maybe the journey isn't about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you. The you of yesterday who wanted to be liked by everyone, who wanted to get to know everyone. What if you need to drop that and find your own people? What if you need to drop that and embrace your own people that are actually around you? The you of yesterday who would end up eating that extra plate of jollof rice, even though you are full and even though the carbs are too much and too unhealthy for you. What if you dropped that and added vegetables, more of vegetables on that plate? The you of yesterday who would lavish money. The you of yesterday who is swimming in debt because you're trying to live a life that is not real, a life that is not yours. What if you dropped that and actually lived your true life? Actually lived the life being content. And here is some good news. You don't need a DeLorean. You can time travel daily. Here is the good news. You can time travel daily. How, you may ask me? Journaling. Talk to your future self in writing. Dear Mary Ann, congratulations to you. In about a year when you are reading this, I hope you have become all you wanted to achieve or who you wanted to be in the past 12 months. You're talking to your future self in writing. You can also time travel in reflection, through reflection. And how do you do that? Talk to your past self through forgiveness. Dear Mary Ann, I hope you are forgiving yourself for getting entangled with people that you should not have entangled with. Oh my goodness. On a lighter note though, I hope you're forgiving yourself for the inactions, for the actions you shouldn't have taken, for the reactions people try to get out of you. Through reflection, you can time travel. Then, visualization. Imagine your future self thanking you for today's discipline, Stand before that mirror. Imagine your future self, thanking you that, thank you that you stayed disciplined. Thank you that you stayed committed. Those kind of stuff. Sometimes you hear people ask, how would you react? How would you shout? How would you celebrate? How would you celebrate when you get that which you've always desired? Imagine your future self celebrating, for getting that hard desire. There's something I read somewhere and I came across, which is called a letter exercise. So here is a practice. Write a letter to your past self. Wow. Then write a letter from your future self to your present self. The words will shock you because deep down, you already know what you need to hear. I hope you're going to try it because I'm also going to try it during the week. Pause after this episode if you can. Write one of those letters. Don't overthink it. Just flow. I hope you're going to try it because I'm also going to try it. So what if you could time travel to talk to yourself? As I said during the episode, maybe you already can through reflection, imagination, and choice. Your past self gave you lessons. Your future self is cheering you on. Your present self, that's where the power lies. Someone I once loved gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. And that quote, strong quote, was from Mary Oliver. This week, I want to challenge us, myself included. Do one thing today that your future self will thank you for. Small or big, just one. Thank you for tuning in to Random Talk with Angie. And if this episode sparked something in you, share it with a friend who needs a reminder that time travel is possible right here in our choices. And connect with me as always on Instagram and TikTok at Random Talk with Angie, via mail randomtalkwithangie@gmail.com. And don't forget to tell me what's one thing you would say to your past or future self. Cheers.